In the progress monitoring schedule, our first monitoring is everyone gets it, that's the green. But I might have someone who doesn't do as well on this screening. They're not usually at risk, but I think they're going to respond to my instruction. This is particularly true of the beginning of the year with kindergarten, first and second grade kids. Do you think that there's variability on forgetting and decrement of skills if you're not using them? I was talking with some folks at the break about how many families reading is perceived as a rec leisure activity that is engaged in on a regular basis all year long. When those kids come back to school in September, they're going to be in the green. But we also have kids who might not touch a book from the day they leave until the day they come back. Those kids are not going to be where we would want them. But doesn't mean that they're disabled or they have a reading. What happens is over time they're going to kick in. And that's exactly what we're seeing. Is that so initially someone who does poorly here, I check them in a month and we're in good shape. They're back up where we want. So the point being, remember how we mentioned earlier, as we looked at it gets smaller and smaller, the number of kids that we're concerned about as time passes and we provide good instruction and the kids get supplemental services. So I might have someone who I'm going to check once a month for a while just to be sure that we're on track. But we might have kids who I'm going to check every other week because I'm just not so sure. They're just kind of hanging out there on the low end of the scale, and I just want to make sure that what I'm doing makes a difference. And again, lastly, as I said before, we may have kids we're checking weekly because we've just put them in this intensive program. They're getting 30, 40 minutes of direct instruction in small group from a specialist. We want to make sure it's the right program. So on the last meeting of every week, we do that, our probe, to find out what's our data looking like. And again, the graphic representation. So, how do you think things are going for this guy? Sorry, let me tell you about it. Sorry. The black represents where we want the youngster to be at the end of the year. The red dots represent the number of words correct, and the green dots represent the number of errors they made while they were reading. So what are you thinking about this youngster? Now this is, as a classroom teacher, if I'm using AimsWeb, this is the graph that would come up on my screen when I clicked on this kid's name after I entered in the data. Because remember, because I'm checking out this guy.
He didn't reach his goal.
Yeah, now this dotted line is a trend line, and what the computer does, it calculates that based on the trend of these scores, that's where the youngsters, if this trend continues, that's where the youngster's going to be at the end of the year. So I need to tweak something, right? Because this is not heading in a direction that I would like. And this is something this is happening in the classroom. This comes onto my screen. Or at home. You can log into this stuff from home. What about this youngster? Same concerns? We need to... What about that youngster? My question to this teacher, when she showed me this graph, I said, why are you progress monitoring this kid? He's a maniac. Stop. Pay attention to someone else. But I included this because it just shows that we have kids on both directions. Let someone ask earlier, what about the high-end kid? We don't need to check this kid every other week. Look at the rate he's going. When we check him mid-year, we're going to find out that he or she is up there.